This is the hardest part. I always tell Jets coaches, like the last couple, is for you, it's 2 games. For Jets fans, it's 14 years with no
Yeah.
playoffs. It's further than that with no championship, right?
Hello and welcome to Gangs All Here. My name is Ryan Sampson, the host and producer of the show. That's my guy, Frankie Vidarini from U Stadium. We're going to be breaking down week 3, Jets versus Buccaneers, coming off a terrible loss for the Jets against the Bills. Frankie, what are you excited about this weekend for Jets Bucs?
Guys and gals, the Jets have to win this game if they want to even think about making the playoffs. We're going to get all into that
Playoffs.
later. Playoffs, I know.
Playoffs.
We haven't even won a game, but you know what? This game is the most important game on their schedule thus far. They have to win this game. It's a must win.
It is a must-win. Look, we're looking forward to seeing how Tyrod Taylor plays. We're going to have Kaz here in a sec. He's going to break down what his expectations are for Tyrod Taylor in this game, what this offense will look like, what are the key matchups that for this Jets team to actually win this game. And we're going to talk about Aaron Glenn's comments he had to the press and media and how I want to break down what Aaron Glenn was really saying to us fans and about Michael Clemons' play. Stick around for Gangs All Here. And of course, we can't do a Gangs All Here show unless we have our Jets beat writer, Brian Costell. Kaz, how you doing today on this Thursday, sir?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're good. We're hanging in there, man. How you doing, Frankie?
I mean, listen, if we're thinking about the Jets, I'm not doing well, but everything else is doing pretty good. So, hey, I can't really complain.
Well, look, guys, we're at this point now, 0-2. Kaz kind of brought it up to us before the season. Like, this is a tough schedule to start, and there's no let up here. They're going to Tampa Bay, playing the Buccaneers, 6.5-point dog. The Bucs look really good. They're 2-0. So to start off with this, Kaz, Justin Fields out, concussion. Tyrod Taylor, he's getting the start. This is what the Jets' previous regime had brought him in for as a really good backup. So it's good that they have him here. What is the realistic expectations for Tyrod Taylor in his performance this Sunday in this offense?
I think Tyrod could play well. He had a good spring when we saw him, and then he kind of went down early in training camp. We didn't see much of him the rest of the way, but everyone's seen Tyrod, what he's been able to do, most recently with the Giants when he filled in there. The question was with Tyrod is can he stay healthy himself and can he stay on the field? The way I view backup quarterbacks, and we talked about this a lot 2 years ago, with Zach Wilson, is they should be able to fill in for 3, 4 games, maybe you need them, but like anything past that, you're going to be in trouble. I think no matter who you are with the backup quarterback. So, but for Sunday, for this game, I think Tyrod could play well.
Kaz, what's going on? A lot of fans online feel like with Tyrod Taylor at the helm, Tanner Engstrand is going to be able to really get that passing offense, pushing the ball down the field to some degree. We saw what happened last week with Justin Fields, 27 passing yards was pretty much a disaster. Do you think that Tyrod Taylor is going to come out this week and throw the ball all over the yard, as they say?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's the identity of this team. I think they're going to want to come out and run the ball,
Yeah.
and I think they're going to want to get Brees going, and maybe remember there's a guy named Braylon Allen on the team and get him incorporated into the thing too. And you know, when Tyrod was playing a lot, like the hard part about like predicting what Tyrod's going to do, he just hasn't played a lot in the last 7, 8 years. When he's in Buffalo, he took a lot of short stuff. He was an underneath guy. He wasn't a mad bomber. He's gotten a little bit more as he's gotten older, but it's just yeah, he just hasn't played a ton. So, but I'd also say who's he throwing to all over the yard? Like yes, Garrett
Yeah.
can get more involved, but we haven't seen much in terms of the second wide receiver yet, and I think Mason Taylor's still feeling his way. So to me, I think they're going to want to come out and run the ball. That's still the identity of this team. They're not scrapping that.
I think so many things are predicated off the run, obviously, with Tanner Engstrand's offense and what he's trying to establish. Play action is going to be a huge part of what he's trying to do here Sunday with Tyrod Taylor. But we know he can sling it from the pocket. He's got plenty of arm talent still. Watching the tape back from last week against the Bills and his limited reps, he did take them down the field, score a touchdown. Like I know his versus secondary defensive position players, but still think that Tyrod can play here. Kaz, I think this is like a question fans are starting to ask themselves here is if Taylor plays well this weekend, let's say even if the Jets don't win, but they are in the game and it's close, do the Jets potentially look at Tyrod and say, you know what, maybe we give it another week in week 4 if he plays well?
I don't think if so, if Justin Fields is healthy, like if there's like a, Justin Fields is only in step three of the protocol on Tuesday, and there's a question of whether he can get a full practice in next week. I mean, it's a Monday night game, so you have an extra day. Then maybe you go, okay, let's be cautious here. But I don't think in terms of like a pure football decision, they're going to do that. They Justin Fields is their guy. Like they went out and that was the plan from the minute these guys arrived. They identified him as the guy they wanted. They gave him what $30 million guaranteed. They really handed him the starting job from the minute we talked to them in March. He was the starter. So like to say, oh, he had one bad game against maybe the best team in football. Okay, we're gonna throw this all out for Tyrod Taylor. Like that doesn't make any sense to me at all. He played well week one. Everyone's got to remember he played well week one. So I think when Fields is healthy, he's the quarterback. The only scenario I see like that, Ryan, is like I said, if maybe he's not all the way back, and it's like, do we do? You can't push a concussion. He's got to clear the protocol, but like,
Yeah.
is there a question mark? Maybe they just say, okay, let's wait a little bit and give him an extra week. But if he's healthy, he's playing in my eyes.
Cause what if I agree with you for the most part, but what if Tyrod Taylor has that 250-yard, 3-touchdown performance like I've brought up before on this show? What if he has one of those kind of games, Cause?
Still think Fields is the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I just don't know how you go, okay, forget everything we've been planning since January off of one bad game by Fields,
Yeah.
and one good game by Taylor. Like Tyrod Taylor, he's not going to be here next year, I don't think. So like, if this was Jackson Dart across town and he played and he, like that's a different story. He's the future of the team. I don't see them just dropping Fields like that quick.
Well, it's certainly something to pay attention to after this. What happens on Sunday is how they balance that situation, and if Fields does become healthy before the game against the Dolphins on Monday night. One thing I do want to ask you too, Kaz, is look, Brady Cook. I'm assuming he's the one that's being elevated as the backup quarterback here this weekend. Is that correct?
Only quarterback on the roster.
So Brady Cook, undrafted rookie, right? The
Yeah.
Jets had a good amount of picks in past year's draft. Sure, Sanders was there for a long time. We talked about the Jets wouldn't go near that. But there's other quarterbacks in the draft. Did the Jets front office make a misstep here? Because Justin Fields is a running quarterback. He can get hit and get hurt a lot. And with concussion, there's a good chance of getting another one later in the season because you've already had one. Tyrod's not the most healthy quarterback as well. Very injury prone in his career. So it makes you wonder, did the Jets make the right decision not to draft a quarterback this past offseason?
Yeah, I'm not second guessing them because of this. I mean, I think you're talking about like drafting a quarterback in the fifth round, right, or something.
Yeah.
You're not
Fifth or
talking about a
sixth,
first
yeah.
or second round
No, no,
pick
no,
on
no,
a
no.
draft,
Later in the
quarterback.
draft.
Yeah, later. So that guy is not going to be that much better than Brady Cook. Like maybe a little, he might be, but like I don't know. They're all rookie day three or worse quarterbacks. They're really you don't expect much from them as a rookie. If they're any team in the NFL, if they're on their third quarterback, they're in trouble. So I don't think you plan for your third quarterback. I just like when you're making draft picks. Obviously, when you're in the summer, you're evaluating it. You're like, okay, who are we going to keep? Adrian Martinez. You could debate that one, like right, Adrian Martinez or Brady Cook. Some people like Martinez better. Some people like Cook better. That's not something I feel like you go into March going, okay, what's our plan at third quarterback going to be uh, when you're listing your priorities? So I wouldn't take issue with that.
The only pushback I have is because of what I just said, though, because of the injury prone status of both quarterbacks. Like, you know what I mean? The play style of
Yeah.
Fields and
But
Ty-
Ryan, I just don't know. I don't know who you think could come in here and win games in that scenario. Like Shador Sanders, he's not playing like for a team that has Joe Flacco playing quarterback right now. So like he was like a freakish fell in the draft player. Will Howard or Kyle
Riley Leonard.
McCord, like these guys, and you wouldn't feel good about any of these guys playing quarterback for you right now. Like
no.
there's not one person who would give you like confidence that I can think of, right? Like, I mean, is there some day three quarterback that you're like, oh my God, the Jets would be set if they had that guy right now?
Cause you're right for the most part. The one thing I'll say, and Ryan and I have spoken about this sort of behind the scenes, I just think the New York Jets overall, they have not been able to find a long-term answer at quarterback.
Well, yeah.
And with Justin Fields.
You think?
You think? Like, that was the most obvious thing
That
you've
was the
ever
most
said.
obvious statement ever
Yes,
said.
most statement. Most
No,
obvious
but
statement.
you know, let's think like we have not been able to find one, right? We'll say it again. Now, we brought in Justin Fields. We have all discussed all of the issues with Justin Fields, one of which his ability to stay healthy. That's why when we talked about his over-unders week 1 for the season, we were saying, well, that's if he plays. He's already missing a game. So why didn't they, I guess, just take another bite at that quarterback apple? And maybe the football gods, for once, will grant us a quarterback in the 5th or 6th round. I know that's depending on luck, but like we got to take the bites at the apple, I think is the point there.
Let me come back to you on this one. All right,
Yeah.
let me throw this back at you guys, and maybe you'll tell me you weren't amongst this group. The Jets I'm going to go 2020, take James Morgan in the 4th round. And all I heard then was like, oh my God, what a wasted pick. This pick is terrible. Like, why would you take a quarterback in the 4th round? He's never going to play. Was that you two or no? Were you guys fans of that pick?
I honestly thought James Morgan, to be honest, now I'm not playing revisionist history here. I thought James Morgan was awful out of college, so I wouldn't even have drafted him at all. But that was
okay,
just
but they
me.
took a bite
flyer.
at the apple.
Yes.
They took a bite at the apple.
I was
Maybe
fine.
like,
I was honestly pretty fine with it. I wasn't,
okay,
but
'cause there were
most
a lot
fans
of
are
Jets
right. They
fans
were
who
saying what
like,
you were saying. Yes,
that is a waste of a pick.
you're
take a
right, Kaz. I
quarterback in the
remember
4th
that
round?
clearly. Yeah, no, you're right.
So like, I just think, like throwing dart. I think the roster. To answer your question, right? The roster they felt like needed so much, and they're in their first year. I don't think they were at the point of throwing darts for quarterbacks yet. In the day 3, I think. We always hear everyone bring up the Ron Wolf line. You take one every year, right?
Yep.
You draft one every year, and I've heard that forever. And like you pointed out, I've seen a lot of bad quarterbacks come through the Jets that was that theory was, oh, take one every year, and none of them have worked out. So I don't know. I don't know if that theory holds water. But yeah, I mean, I think on the list of, I think when we look back at the end of the season and we're listing mistakes they made in the offseason, the 3rd quarterback is probably not going to be near the top of the list. And to me, if you lose 2 quarterbacks, you're screwed. I don't like. I'm sure someone can come up with an example here of a 3rd quarterback who thrived, but I'm not thinking of one off the top of my head.
Baker Mayfield with the Rams for that one short stint is what I can think
They
of.
signed him for a week.
I know.
Right? Like they signed him. Like he had 1 game. Yes, and and again, that's a freakish. That's not a guy you're taking day 3. That was a guy he was on the street for whatever reason from Carolina.
I think it was it the Jaguars a couple of years ago? We're down to their 3rd stringer, or was the Bengals a 3rd stringer, and they still made the playoffs. And they started their 3rd stringer. I think it was Browning. His first year as a rookie was a late round pick.
Yeah,
and I think he was their 3rd stringer, and he actually
was.
played the playoff game for them that year.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
it's just weird how it
I'll
works
say
that way
this just to kind of put a bow on this, like, 3rd round, day 3, the 3rd round and beyond, day 3 quarterback kind of thing. I do particularly like the day 3 guys that were in this draft.
You love the day 3 guys always, though.
No, I really liked Riley Leonard.
I know you did.
I loved Will Howard to a degree. I love them in terms of their potential to have a
Frankie, you're talking about their potential in 2027, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about
yes, I am.
You're not talking about them playing in 2025.
Yes,
None of those guys can play in 2025, or you'd be shocked if they played well.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's a different argument to me. Like if they're saying, hey, they need a developmental quarterback on the roster. Like,
Yes.
okay. But not because like, oh my God, he's going to save the season if Tyrod gets hurt.
Yeah, it's just scary though when you think about it that Tyrod's 1 hit away from Brady Cook playing in the NFL for the Jets.
It is. I mean, I will say like it's a concussion. I wouldn't expect Fields to miss that much time, and he hasn't been a guy. He's missed like 3 or 4 games in seasons. Like he hasn't been. He's not like he has a bum knee or a bum shoulder.
No.
That you're like, oh my God, he might be done for the season, or a Tua situation where you feel like he might be lost for the season with 1 hit. So, this should be 1 week, I would think. I'd be surprised if he's not back next week.
Yep. Well, obviously, always relies on the severity of the concussion and how well he can bounce back from that. Guys, let's transition over to Gang Sounds Off. I wanted to play this sound for you from Aaron Glenn. Spoke to you guys, Kaz, and the reporters yesterday. Asked about the outside noise around the Jets right now and how he started off his tenure with the Lions when they started 0-2, and I think he brought it back to the Saints as well. And then he was also asked about Michael Clemons' play, and then I want to give you guys my reaction to this.
Number one, not wavering and really have a belief in what you're doing. And it wasn't just with Detroit. We had the same situation in New Orleans, actually. We were 7-9 one year. The following year, we came back. I think it was 2017. We started 0-2, and we ended up being 11-5 for that season. So there's a belief that has to happen amongst the coaches and the players to make sure you just stay focused on what you're trying to accomplish. And there's going to be so many outside noise that have no idea what goes on inside. You know, a lot of these people haven't even played a down. So you can't focus on that. Again, we have to focus on what we're trying to do. We're locking arms. We'll make sure we're keeping everything inside and not letting anybody infiltrate what we're trying to do. So the focus is that for us, and we're going to continue to do that.
Aaron, with Michael Clemons, forgetting about the penalty for a second.
Yep.
Just how did he play down to down? Just forgetting about the penalty.
Yeah, there's sometimes when people, when they don't see a stat, they feel like a player hasn't done anything right. But there's other things that go on in the game that we ask players to do that, again, that people really don't understand. So I will say this. I mean, listen, we know exactly what we're trying to do as a staff. Listen, everybody has the ups and downs when it comes to playing. And the things that we're asking Mike to do, he's doing a good job at that. You know, does he need to improve? Absolutely, like everybody else. All right, but we know exactly what we're doing with Mike.
All right, so look. I saw what you wrote, Kaz, yesterday. While he's not the most important player on the field in terms of impact, we'll get to the Clemens part, but he's a pariah right now. He's the target of a lot of Jets fans, including myself. But I want to start off with what he first talked about the most people haven't played it down, are the ones saying the outside noise and don't understand what's going on inside the building. I hate when coaches and players do this. I don't know how you feel about this because you've been covering the game a hell of a lot longer than I've been around in this media landscape. But I've been watching film for a long time on teams, and I like to think that I know a good amount about what a football team is trying to do on the field. And I can notice when a player is playing bad or poorly, teams don't execute, effort, all of it. And I know you feel the same way. I just don't like the way Glenn is messaging these things sometimes, specifically to you guys, when you're asking him legitimate questions. Like, there was this message he was portraying to the fans and you guys in the media when he first took this job that we're built for this, we're the Jets, I'm going to build this my way, this is going to be, never done before in the terms of how we're coaching them up, discipline, we're going to correct these things, we're going to be better. It hasn't been a good 2 games here. You lost a close one in week 1, and then week 2 you got absolutely demolished, and you didn't belong on the field compared to the Buffalo Bills. I have a problem with what he says there, though, when he says that we can't criticize the team because we didn't play a down. It's not fair, my personal opinion. Whatever you guys feel, I that's just how I'm coming from here, Kaz.
I don't think he's saying we can't criticize. I think he's saying they shouldn't listen to the criticism because we don't know what we're talking about. I think that's his point. It doesn't bother me as much as some of my colleagues, and apparently you, Ryan. Like, I know I got texts from people that were mad that he said that, and I've heard that obviously times before. And my 2 thoughts on it are, I go to the movies, right, and I watch a movie, and I'm like, I walk out, and someone was like, "Man, that movie sucked," right? I've never made a movie. I wouldn't know the first thing about how to load the film and the camera and where the cameras go and how to direct people. But I know a good movie and a bad movie when I see it. And if you look at my stomach, the same thing with a meal. And I've never cooked at a restaurant, and I guess like grilling hot dogs, outside on the grill is the equivalent of playing high school football, right? So I know that, but like I've never cooked a real meal, but I know what tastes good and what doesn't, and I equate that to football, right? Like, yeah, I don't know every single thing that they are on a PhD level. It's different, but people that watch football know what they're seeing. So I'd say that. My other, like, I wish I could talk to Aaron Glenn, like, but he doesn't want to have that relationship with the media really, like, is just to say, okay, like, explain it to me. Like we've lost that along the way. Like when I was a young writer, mostly around baseball more, like the baseball managers like would sit there and they'd explain stuff to you. Like I learned stuff from Joe Torre or Bobby Valentine or Willie Randolph, and like the people like they would teach you stuff, and it was very valuable. And somewhere along the way, it became these press conferences that are shown every day on the web, and there's like this distance between us. But I've had football coaches with the Jets who sat down and like watched film with me and like taught me stuff, and it's educational and it's good, and I think it helps. The more we know in terms of that stuff, the better the coverage is, and I think it's important. And so, and a lot of times, like what I do is, if I don't understand something, I will send a clip to a coach that I know and say, explain to me who, like, a lot of times you don't know the coverage stuff, like blown coverage. Tell me what happened on this blown
Yeah.
coverage. So you try. So I think Aaron Glenn is learning. He's only 2 games into his career. I don't know if he's getting great advice on how to deal with the media. I don't think this is how Dan Campbell deals with the media. Um, Parcells to some degree. But Parcells also, he would pull people aside and talk to them and stuff. And so I think he's gonna have to learn as he goes. I if they win, guys, no one's gonna care about this stuff, right? It's because it's coming off a bad loss. It's getting magnified. So, uh, I don't think it's a big deal. But yeah, the messaging this week hasn't been great. And you didn't hit on the instant coffee,
No.
the ship turning around,
The
the
chopping wood.
The
Legos,
chopping wood.
chopping wood, right? Like this is stuff. This is the hardest part. I always tell Jets coaches, like the last couple, is for you, it's 2 games. For Jets fans, it's 14 years with no
Yeah.
playoffs. It's further than that with no championship, right? So like Aaron Rodgers had a moment where last year where he said, "Well, it's only been 10 games for me." And I'm like, "Yeah, you gotta understand the people you're talking to have suffered a lot longer, right?" And I don't think anyone ever appreciates that when they come here. I thought Aaron Glenn might because he had the history here, but I don't think he gets it either. It's like the minute you're in that seat, you inherit the last 14 years. And it's not completely fair, but it is. But like you can't talk about instant coffee because Jets fans have been standing online at Starbucks for 4 hours at this point waiting for coffee. So
It's a
like,
great analogy.
don't talk
Yeah.
to them about instant coffee. I when he said that I was like, oh jeez. But that's my thoughts, Frankie. I don't know what you thought of it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, guys, like I think there's a lack of accountability on Aaron Glenn for himself at this point. I think he's not keeping himself accountable. I think the things that he has said this week, Kaz is right, the messaging's been bad. You're right also with that lame excuse of why somebody can't critique you because they didn't play football. Newsflash, there have been NFL coaches that some of them haven't played football. Some of them only played in high school. Some played D3. I mean, some of the best coaches. You think Bill Belichick? I know he played center or something in the 70s. Is he some great football player? So I don't think it's fair, especially the way the game is now and the access that we all have to information, next gen stats, all 22 film.
Yeah.
You can see exactly what the coaches see. Listen, I played D1 AA. I don't think I know better than somebody who didn't play or I think
did
somebody
play in the NFL. Yeah, yeah.
or someone that played in the NFL knows more than myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look at it, you know what you see that works.
And you formulate your opinion like Kaz said at the beginning of this, where you know a good movie when you see one, you know a bad team when you see one on the field.
Yes.
And that's correct.
And one other thing I'll point out, and Aaron Glenn did not mean this at all. This was not his intent.
Right, but
But
that's
this
the
thought occurred
problem.
to me.
Like when you do say something like this,
But
that's
this is no. I'm going to make another point, Ryan.
Okay.
That this is. I'm not saying that this is what he meant. Yeah, there are a lot of great women who cover football right now, and
Yeah.
women now. There are flag football opportunities that have just started within the last 10 years or so. I don't know how many of them have ever played a down of football, right? Because it wasn't available to them when they were growing up. And like Jenny Varentis, I know from the New York Times, she was at the Jets beat. Jenny is tremendous. Mina Kimes has made a really great career for herself at ESPN. She's really intelligent about football. Her analysis is great. There's more. There's plenty of more of them. Kimberly Martin, I know well, right at ESPN. She's done a great job. So when you say that, right, that's immediately you're saying women don't know what they're talking about with football.
I agree with you,
And
man.
again, I'm not saying he meant that at
I don't
all.
think he
It's like
did.
that's not
Yeah.
what he was thinking. But it just occurred to me, it's like you better
You got to be
that
careful
You
when
guys
you
start barking up the
it's
wrong tree
insulting
there.
him.
it's the Ryan Clark going after Peter Schrager on first take
Yeah.
on Get Up the other day. It's like
Yep.
you didn't play, and it's like Peter's been around the game for a long time, Ryan. Like there's just
Yeah.
I
It's a
understand.
cop-out.
Everyone has different backgrounds. Everyone has different. It is a cop out, Frankie. It's a good way of saying it. Let's flip over to the Michael Clemons part, guys. Because look, Kaz, he's been the center of my target here because I've said it from the start. I don't think he deserves to be on the team. I understand like they don't have anyone else. There's no depth there. You can critique Glenn and Muji for not addressing the defensive end position in the offseason and bringing more depth in because we said the same thing about the defensive tackle position, and there was no depth there, and they didn't address it until 1 week before the season started. So that's where you put yourself in the situation because you guys, I'm not going to call it arrogance, but it kind of is where you said, we can coach Michael Clemons up. We know he's not going to be a starter for us, but he's going to play a decent amount, and we're going to ask him to do certain things on the run game or whatever. But when I hear that answer from him about when fans or media members or whoever don't see a stat pop up for Michael Clemons, they associate that with being a bad game for him or a bad performance. But we're asking him to do things that they don't know about. Well, I go back and watch the tape because that's a good way of evaluating a player. How did he impact? There's other stats like Frankie pointed out, pass rush win rate, right? Like that, they actually have chips in the shoulder pads for these players, and they can calculate how fast you get off the line of scrimmage and beat your offensive lineman in a pass rush situation. They calculate it as a win or loss. Michael Clemons in 2 games has 1 pass rush win in the entire first 2 games. That's a stat for you right there if you want to tell me about stats. The other thing, defense-wise, team defense. I looked this up, guys. This is according to True Media. When Michael Clemons is not on the field in 56 snaps this season for the first 2 games, the defense gives up an average of 3.7 yards per play. 3.7 when he's not on the field. When Michael Clemons is on the field for 69 plays so far this season in 2 games, when he's on the field, the Jets defense gives up 6.8 yards per play. They give up almost 3 yards more per play on average when Michael Clemons is on the field compared when he's not in the field. Those are stats. So that's where I would go back at Aaron Glenn and say, he's not a good player. And he killed you with that penalty. And the defense that you're going at with Michael Clemons right now is Anthony Volpe, Aaron Boone-like defense, where everyone sees it on the field. We see that he's not playing well, but you keep putting him out there, and maybe you don't have any other better solutions, but stop defending him like he's actually a good player.
That was good, man. But I have one thing to say. Did you play in the NFL?
I did not.
So I would take that all back.
Look,
No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. No, it was a great rant.
coaches, the last coaching staff had this weird inclination. They liked Clemens. I had a thing with Salah where I asked him one time, and Salah said like he'd wanted to watch your kids. He said that it was in a press conference. He said like it was a weird thing, and like they always rolled him out. Like coaches like
Salah
him.
thing to say.
I don't get it, but coaches like him. And we said this. The problem is he plays too much, and he's playing too much again. And now if Jermaine Johnson is hurt, he's going to play even more this week.
We haven't seen an injury report on him, right? For Jermaine?
He was not. I'm home today.
Right.
I wasn't there today, but what I understand is he was not on the field for practice today.
Wonderful.
So we haven't seen the official injury report yet. But yeah, it's the thing I thought was interesting about him bringing up the stats thing was that's been floating around on X right all week about the zero all the stats right of Michael Clemens. Few people have been so like Aaron Glenn's always saying I don't pay attention to the outside noise, but that was clearly like he had seen that tweet somewhere like, and maybe the PR department showed it to him to prepare him because he was going to get asked about it, but like I thought that was interesting that he brought that up. But I don't understand why they love Clemens so much, and I do think you got to try something else there. I don't know if Eric Watts is the answer from the practice squad, but I think that's another one they messed up by not signing one of those veteran guys out there. And I'm not sure, maybe one of the veteran guys didn't want to come here. Maybe they didn't want to come to the Jets because they don't think the Jets are going anywhere this year. Veterans tend to ring chase more than anything else when they're signing, but he should have done something. Even, Preston Smith just signed with the Commanders. That's another guy that we haven't really talked about because Yeah, it's your Clemens would I think would be fine as your fifth defensive end. He's tough as your third defensive end.
Yeah, and also getting back to Glenn really quick, I can't believe how he came out and almost defended Clemens initially about that late hit. And he's right to a degree. I understand where he's coming from. You're a defensive lineman. You're going at the quarterback with a head of steam. You're going to try to knock him out. Yeah, that's in you, right? Why would you open up with that, though, if this accountability thing and you're trying to fix the penalty issues we have here? That can't be the first thing you say. That should be the second thing you say. Then he follows that up with, but again, it's a stupid play. Like, so why'd you say what you said to begin with? Kaz, do you agree with that? I mean, that kind of
Now,
was like, I don't know.
I think as I understand too, they went over this 1,000 times last week. It's like Josh Allen gets these calls, guys.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot be up near his head or neck. You can't be a step late. And compounding it, it's 3rd and 19. So I feel like when it's third down, you have to even be even more cautious as a pass rusher. And I don't necessarily agree with all the quarterback rules now, but
Same.
they're the rules. And
Yep.
Glenn's in a tricky spot, being Mister. You're not going to play for us if you cost us the game, like whatever he said the first game. Because like we said, Gibson was an easy one. I thought that was an easy one to cut, but he's then when we're asking about it, and like, is he defending his player? Some would argue he's just sticking up for his player. What do you want him to do? He's not going to throw a player under the bus. But I think there's a way to do it where you hold them accountable and you're also not throwing them under the bus. I think it's a tricky line to walk and it's difficult, and maybe he needs to figure that out a little bit better.
It's well said,
That's
guys.
something Parcells was really good at.
It
Parcells was good at he would zing a player in a press conference, and it wasn't the end of the world. So
it's a modern athlete now you're dealing with. A little bit different now too sometimes with these guys.
yeah, I don't think you could call Terry Glenn she in 2025. That's for sure.
No. All right, fellas. Rant over. Let's go to the actual game itself. Matchups to watch. I have mine, but I'm interested to hear what yours, Kaz, is. What's your one key matchup that you think could determine how this game plays out?
The Jets defensive line versus the Bucs O line. Bucs are banged up severely. 3 starters out. I'm assuming Wirfs is going to be out still, but they lost now. Cody Mock at guard, and the right tackle went down. So
Hideki, yeah, Luke Hideki.
can they get pressure on Baker? To me, that's the key to this whole game is can they pressure Baker, and hold up against that running game, because it wasn't good against the Bills. Their defensive line was not good, and their defensive line, I think, is one we're thinking could be a strength. I don't know if Jermaine is going to play. Like I said, like that's a question mark, but they need to get to Baker in this game, or I think he's going to slice and dice them.
Frankie, what's your one key matchup?
So my key matchup, guys, is Jamie Sherwood versus Bucky Irving. That's the key matchup right there, because they're going to give Bucky Irving the ball in a variety of ways. They like to dump him off the ball. Is Jamie Sherwood going to play better? I know he had 13 tackles last week, but didn't have a good game because he's chasing everyone all day, kind of the last guy on defense there. Is he going to be able to bring down Bucky Irving down? Or is he going to let Bucky break some tackles and go for 30? That's the key matchup to me, because Quincy is going to do what Quincy does.
Yeah.
So I'm not really depending on Quincy. Quincy's like a rocket ship. He's either going to hit that point of attack or he's not. Jamie Sherwood's got to be the one that is moving in space and sort of trailing and figuring out where Bucky is and where he isn't, and calling the defense also. But that's the key matchup right there. I think if Jamie Sherwood can neutralize a bit Bucky Irving getting those yards after contact, that'll be key for me.
Look, Jamie Sherwood is at the center of attention as well right now for this Jets defense. Yeah. I've seen a lot of media and people, commentators going after Jamie Sherwood because, again, the tape does not lie. He has been sucked in on a lot of bad plays, has not been good in coverage. It's not been a good start, Kaz, for Jamie Sherwood in the first after this extension that he signed with the Jets.
Yeah, he's making $15 million now. It's different, right? Last year there was no expectations for him at all when he came in for C.J. Mosley, and so it was like, oh, look at this guy. He's actually playing pretty well, and he got maybe a little overinflated how well he played because there was zero expectations. But when you get paid $15 million, there's expectations.
And one last thing with C.J. Mosley, bringing up that name, one of the friends of the show here. CJ was really good at dissecting what that offensive looked like, calling that defensive front. He was a quarterback
savant.
Yeah, he was, and you could tell it doesn't seem like we have that right now. But give Jamian a little more time, everyone. I think
it's a new
we're
defense
jumping
for
the
him.
gun
It's a new defense
with him saying that maybe he doesn't deserve the money. I think it's a little early to say
yeah,
that. Yeah,
so he's got to play better though. Bottom line.
Yeah,
and Frankie, that was going to be my pick, but now I'm going to adjust on the fly here. How about this, guys? Sauce Gardner and Brandon Stevens versus Igbuka and Mike Evans.
It's a great one.
These two guys are legit weapons. Igbuka has, I think, 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns in the first 2 games here.
Yes. He didn't practice on Wednesday, though. So,
right. So
curious to see what that deal is there.
Curious if he plays, but again, like Stevens and Sauce. Like Sauce didn't have a good game last week, especially on that 3rd down with Josh Palmer, and you had Mitch Trubisky in a quarterback. He did let that crosser happen, and it was deep.
He did get jammed in the face. I will say that.
He did have a penalty on that one too, right?
Yeah, he got a penalty. He probably should have been a penalty on Palmer, I think. But yeah,
so
he didn't play well.
They got to play better, both those corners. No doubt, Stevens has been someone people have been targeting as well. Got to have a better game, man. Baker's gonna light you up if you're not on top of your. So don't be so handsy. Please play better. Keep these guys under wraps and just don't get beat deep, man. They're gonna want to stretch the field with Mike Evans, and if Igbuka does play, he'll be another target for them as well.
You better hope he's a little bit hampered by that injury, Igbuka, because if he is, then that gives Stevens a little more help there. But if he's not, they're saying they want Sauce really lining up across from Mike Evans more often than not, and then
he traveled. I mean, he traveled week 1 with DK Metcalf
for the most part.
The most part. So, funny we didn't even mention anything about the offense there for key matchups, but it's just like, whatever we get from the offense feels like hopefully it'll be a positive. I know, but like the defense hasn't been good for the Jets, and that's why we're all paying attention to it, right? So, fellas, I do have trivia for you. Did a little deep dive here. This is always fun for me to stump Kaz. So, do you guys know? First off, it's an easy one. Do you guys know the all-time record Jets versus Bucs in the history of these two between playing each other?
Yeah, I just saw it.
Okay, so Kaz knows.
It's pretty good, yeah.
So they have the best win percentage in their history, Frankie, against an opponent. It's the Buccaneers.
Oh,
10-3 all time.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, the Bucs were horrendous for a long time.
Well, let's go back and
they're wearing those jerseys again that they were horrendous in, aren't they?
Yes, the creamsicles, yes.
So let's do a little bit of history dive here. My other question here is the last time.
What was the record, Ryan? What is it? It's like
10-3.
10-3, right?
Jets are 10-3. Best win percentage versus any opponent. So the follow-up here is the last time these two teams played was the infamous Antonio Brown incident, January 2nd, 2022. The Bucs won that game 28-24. Tom Brady tore up the Jets for 410 yards, 4 passing touchdowns. Can you both tell me who led the Bucs in receiving that game? Bonus if you can tell me who led the Jets in receiving that game.
Why do I know this, but my brain isn't working correctly today?
I feel like it was that little slot receiver.
Scotty Miller?
Scotty Miller, that's who I'd go with.
So both of you going Scotty Miller? Final answer?
There was somebody else I'm feeling like.
Don't forget, Antonio Brown got kicked out halfway in between the games.
No, you know who it was? It was a receiver that we had on our team that was on the Ravens. Was it Brashad Perriman?
Brashad Perriman only had 2 catches for 41 yards. You're both wrong. It was Rob Gronkowski for 7 catches, 115 yards receiving for Gronk that game.
How many did Scotty Miller have?
Scotty Miller did not have any catches in that game.
There you go, nothing. So, yeah.
Cyril Grayson Jr. had 6 for 81 and a touchdown.
The only thing I remember about that game is the quarterback sneak by Zach.
Can you guys tell me who led the Jets in receiving for a bonus that game? He had 8 catches for 65 yards and a touchdown.
What year was that again?
2022. But
it's 21. It was
21
season.
but it was a 21 season. But it's
Corey Davis?
No, it's not Corey Davis.
Braxton Berrios?
Yeah,
there we go. Kaz always gets the secondary one right. This is like 3 weeks in a row. I'm telling you.
I've stumped Kaz, though. I'm happy I've stumped him 3 times in a row, man. All right.
That's a pretty nondescript game to remember. Like I said, the only I remember is Zach running the quarterback sneak when he was supposed to hand it to Berrios.
And Antonio Brown.
Yeah. I actually I barely remember. I didn't really see the Antonio Brown thing very well I was watching the game, and then
Yeah.
I didn't realize till after it happened. Yeah.
All right, fellas, let's go to some over-unders and picks. So last week, just to set everyone up here, oof, guys.
Terrible week, right?
1
Terrible.
and
The overs-
7.
none of the overs hit. None of the overs hit last week.
You got one right. You're 1 and 7 last
Jeez.
week.
Oof.
Frankie, 4 and 4.
Wow,
500.
that's incredible.
So that brings you both, because of Kaz's terrible week last week. You're both 7 and 9 on the season in over-unders.
Wow, I'm tied, even though Kaz had a
Yes.
terrible week. Wow.
Yes. So now you're both at 7 and 9. Let's pick some over-unders for this Jets Bucks game. So let's start with Tyrod Taylor. We got him at 209.5 pass yards. Kaz?
Under.
Frankie?
Under.
All right. So Taylor is not going to light it up this week. Baker Mayfield, 234.5 pass yards. Kaz?
Over.
Frankie?
Under. I thought you were going under, Kaz. I don't know why.
Baker Mayfield, 1.5 passing touchdowns.
Over.
I'm going over, too.
Brees Hall, 58.5 rushing yards.
Frankie should go first this time.
Frankie, Brees Hall, 58.5 rushing yards.
I'm going under.
Frankie's going under for Brees. Kaz?
No, slightly over.
Over for Brees Hall, 58.5 rush yards.
That's a good number.
Let's go to the Bucky Irving rushing yards. 70.5 rushing yards for Mr. Bucky Irving. Frankie? Can the
I'm going
Jets stop
over.
the over?
Yeah.
Frankie's got him going over. Jets can't stop the run. Kaz?
I'll go under on that one.
Under 70.5 for Kaz. Finally, guys, Garrett Wilson. We got him at, wow, this is a big number, 66.5 receiving yards.
That's his highest for the year so far. isn't
Garrett
it?
Wilson.
The Tyrod effect.
Every week we're like 52,
Yeah,
58.
for real.
Yeah, right.
Frankie?
I mean, I went under on passing, so with that logic, I'm going to go under with Garrett's.
Kaz?
Same with me. I went under for Tyrod, so I'm going to go under at Garrett.
All right. That's the over-unders. Let's hope you guys make some money for fans here. Now let's pick this game. Frankie, you're 0-2. You picked the Jets again
my
last
Lord.
week. Kaz and I both picked the Bills, so that puts us both at 1-1. I'll start off with you, Frankie, this time. Give me your pick. Jets are 6.5-point dogs. Obviously, we don't care about the spread in these picks, but tell me who's winning this game and why.
All right, I thought a lot about this, like I do with this pick every week, and I haven't won one yet, right? So
Maybe think less.
there you go. You might be right. Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I'll switch my pick right now. No, but I've been looking at this game, and listen, at the end of the day, the Jets have to win this game for Aaron Glenn, for the fans, for the owner, for the son, for everybody. They got to win this game. All right. They have 3 starting offensive linemen out. Granted, Wirfs was already out, so it's more like 2, but it's still for the year it's 3, okay, are out. We talk about Quinnen Williams all the time, Will McDonald, assuming Jermaine plays. The Jets, I think, with a Buka out, I saw that coming in here today. I feel like this is their game to win, and they have to win this game. They don't win this game, all's going to fall down. Everyone's expecting the Bucs to win. So when I feel like everyone is on one side of the table, I like to kind of walk the other way. I kind of sit on the other side. So I'm sitting on the other side. I'm walking on in my own lane here for the most part because no one's picking the Jets. I'm picking the Jets to win the same kind of game that Kaz described in week 1, sloppy, wet, fumbly. That's the kind of game we're going to get here. It's going to be a low-scoring game. I'm taking the under also on this on the overall, whatever the over-under is. I don't even care. I'm taking the under. I'm taking the Jets to win a sloppy, ugly, fumbly kind of game, guys.
You got a score for me?
Yeah. I'm going to go 21-18 Jets.
I don't know how to respond after that one. Kaz, go ahead.
Fumbly is a good word. I like that
Fumbly.
word.
Yeah, fumbly, yeah.
But you were looking at the Jets Bucks record. They've lost the last two to the Bucks, right?
They have.
Because I remember the Fitz game, right? The Fitz game, and then the Tom Brady game, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna take, Aaron Glenn's metaphor about the ship and turning the ship and how turning the ship sometimes is slow and sometimes you hit an iceberg, guys. Sometimes the iceberg is there. And I think the Jets are gonna hit an iceberg this week.
I don't know why that's so
Uh,
funny, but it is.
I watched the Bucks, right? Baker was balling on Monday night. Like just he looks good, dude.
There
Like,
you
I
go.
think the Jets have had some tough luck here with the quarterbacks they've gotten. All these great 2018 quarterbacks that they're facing this year. So I'm gonna go. I don't think this is gonna be close, guys. I think the Jets aren't gonna fix their issues in a week. Maybe tune in next week when they're playing the Dolphins. Then maybe they fix things. So I'm gonna go big here. I'm gonna go big score, which I don't usually do, but I'm gonna go Bucks 34, Jets 13.
Woof. Woof. Oh my God.
I saw a podcast. Somebody had the exact same score, Cause, as
God.
that. The exact 34-13.
Direct hit in years, so that should make you feel good.
That's gonna be a miserable post-game show for us again, man.
I can't do it anymore.
34-13.
I was pretty calm this last week. You were a little.
I'm
bit
gonna
out of it.
freak out if they get blown out 34-13. But with that
Well,
being
you have
said,
to. I'm assuming you're gonna pick them to win
Who?
because your
the
record.
Jets.
I mean, how are they? When are they gonna get to this 10 number? Not to clown you for it. Cause
No, you can
I'm
clown me
0-2.
for it. I was wrong. I didn't think the defense was going to be this bad.
I'm worried about 8 right now, Frankie. I'm worried about
I was
Yeah.
at 7, guys.
The Jets defense is atrocious right now.
Yeah, but I will say, look, whatever you think of power rankings and that stuff, I was looking at somebody's power rankings this week, and the teams below the Jets were the Panthers, the Saints, the Browns, the Dolphins, and they've got 5 games against those teams. So
that's
there
good.
is some solace coming. There's some soft spots on the schedule coming up soon.
We'll see. Justin Fields has to play more consistent offensively, and he's not playing this week. Tyrod, I think, is going to step in and do an admirable job. Admirable. But they don't have another receiving option. It's Garrett Wilson. That's it. It's going to be tough, I think, for Tyrod to try and pick apart this Bucs defense. Todd Bowles is still a hell of a defensive coordinator. Aaron Glenn mentioned him. That was his kind of like mentor a little bit when he was played for him and he coached under him. And I think Todd Bowles, was the coach that we probably shouldn't have kicked out of town and should have still be here with the Jets. Didn't work out. And I think he's going to get his little revenge here again. And he's probably going to have these guys ready to go. Home opener for the Bucs. They're going to kill the Jets. I think it's going to be Bucs 28, Jets 10, honestly.
I mean, this is the one thing I'll say to kind of counter them getting blown out, and me saying that they probably will get blown out, but I'm going to just give you a counter. With those 3 offensive linemen out and Baker, sometimes his timing can be a little bit off. Agbuka's hurt.
Buka did practice today, by the way, fellas.
Okay.
It wasn't open to media, but he practiced. He ended up practicing, just not during the media portion.
My question is, can Quinnen Williams and Will McDonald...
Can he show up?
Can Quinnen Williams
week 1, that's
take over a game in some regard? Can we get a turnover? We haven't got one yet. Is that possible? Is this the game... Yeah, is this the game that Sauce has a pick 6 or somebody has a pick 6? It's got to come eventually, right? I mean, like, eventually you get a turnover. I mean, you don't go 4 or 5 games without one. I mean,
the Jets have Frankie. Before.
Have we gone that? What's the most? I remember we went 4 games without. What was it? 7?
There was a stretch. I can't remember if it was.
Was it the
under
Gase
Saleh.
years?
No, I think it might have been either Saleh or the Bulls. There was one time where they didn't have an interception for
like 6
they had like
games.
two interceptions the whole season. I want to say. There was a 1 year where they just did not have interceptions. It was pretty crazy. May have been 21. Trying to think.
We spoke about this in the post game with Ryan, and this is a question that I wanted to ask you. Is it the players that are not able to get their hands on the football? Is it there's a juju there at MetLife? Is it the coaching? Even though when the coaching changes, they still can't turn the ball over. I'm starting to think these players aren't. Some of them are maybe thinking too much in New York. They're hesitating a bit out there. I mean, So
I think there's some luck involved to it.
yeah,
I think, uh, against Buffalo, they were playing from behind a lot, so there weren't a lot of interception chances. They had the one where it was tipped. Um,
the one to
but
Sauce across the middle.
Sauce, yeah, Sauce
Yeah.
might have had. There was a fumble though on the ground that they didn't get. Um, so it's yeah, I don't know what I think it's been a combination of things, Frankie, but it's wild. They just don't ever seem to really turn the ball over a lot, and I don't know what it is. They had seven interceptions in 21,
Yeah, that's what I'm
but I'd
looking
have to
at
look
too.
game by game. I feel like there was a stretch there where they just had no interceptions. I'm not sure if it was that year or another year.
I'll say this, guys. If the Jets do lose on Sunday, like you both predicted, the chances of a team. Now, granted, this stat is a little bit skewed due to the 17-game schedule, but out of 165 teams in NFL history to start 0-3, there's going to be a bunch of teams, a couple teams that are going to start 0-3. Since 1990, only 4 have made the playoffs. That's a 2.4% chance.
That's the
So
furthest thing
4
from my
out of
mind right now.
yeah, but I'm saying 4 out of 165. The Jets, Dolphins, Browns, Texans, Titans, Chiefs, Giants, Bears, Saints, and Panthers are looking to avoid that 0-3 hole that kind of sets people up to not make the playoffs. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I don't think they're making the playoffs, Frankie.
Yeah.
Just get
I'm,
a win.
I'm just saying.
Just get a win first, man.
Can't start 0-3.
I'm so depressed about this team already. It's crazy.
Let's get a win.
That Michael Clemons rant took a lot out of me, guys. I'm so tired of this already.
I thought you were gonna pick them this week. You like Tyrod Taylor. You should have done.
I like Tyrod, but I don't like the Jets in this matchup against the Bucs. I think Baker's gonna have a big day. He's gonna pick these guys apart. It's like
Without those offensive linemen in.
yeah, dude.
You know what happens though.
But hang on, like Kaz just said, if Jermaine doesn't practice today,
Oh, that means all goes back to Michael Clemons.
yeah, guys, if he's out there playing most of the snaps, they ain't getting much pass rush on Baker Mayfield.
We should have a Michael Clemens personal foul over under at a half.
Maybe- Maybe all this negativity is going to inspire Michael Clemons. He's
Yeah.
gonna come out and play his ass off, and then you know what he's going to say to you guys. What he said to those fans in Cleveland. He's going to say to those Jets fans now. He's going to be pointing right at you, Ryan.
That's fine.
Right at you.
You know what? I'd rather him point at me after a win than us go through another miserable loss and this Jets team just doesn't look anywhat competitive.
What would you do if Michael Clemens walked in the studio right now?
I would say, dude, you're not playing well. Like, all due respect, you're not playing well. Like, I've had conversations
With the baseball
I don't
bat.
know, Frankie.
With the
I don't know, Frankie.
he'll
He's
say,
a-
"Oh, Michael, how are you? Great to meet you." You know.
Yeah,
shake his hand.
oh, so nice to meet you. He's a large fella.
I know he's a large fella. He's the biggest guy on the team.
Yeah. I was the one. I got him after the game Sunday, so nobody else got him, and I kind of saw he did this kind of end around in the locker room, and I kind of figured out where he was going, so I waited outside this door, and he came out, and I was like, there was a PR guy there. I said, I'm taking the charge. So I stepped right in front of him, and he just glared at me. And so I asked him, about the penalty, and he kind of just glared at me for like 20 seconds and didn't say anything. And then he gave an answer. He was accountable for it. He said he was trying to pull up, but he didn't, and they called it, and it is what it is. But I would love to see some people that are online killing Michael Clemens face to face, because he's an intimidating cat, man. He's a big dude.
He's an intimidating dude, no doubt. But like anyone else, man, you got to take criticism. Like you're getting paid millions of dollars to play football. Like, would love to be in your spot.
See it like that, right?
I would kill to be in that position, man. I would love to be able to
I know,
play
but
NFL.
they do not see it like that. I promise.
I know.
I had one years and years and years ago. I wrote a line that the Jets were playing more cupcakes than Chris Jenkins had in his cupboard, and he read it, and he found me, and he was like, I Googled my name and I saw your shit, and he's like, that wasn't funny. And Chris Jenkins,
That's a great line.
Michael Clemens is a big dude. Chris Jenkins makes him look like a dwarf. Like Chris Jenkins was, and like the stories of, like Chris Jenkins in the weight room were like legendary. And like that was the guy. If you asked the players like who's the strongest dude on the team, it was Chris Jenkins. And I'm like, this guy might kill me. And like, is it? I could be rich if he punches me in the face.
Correct.
But I also may not be able to speak for the rest of my life because he's just gonna break every bone in my face if he hits me. So yeah, it's there's some big dudes.
They are. Let's hope they play well. Just play well.
Yeah,
Be competitive. We'll see how it goes. Fellas, that's a show. Jets versus Bucs, week 3. Frankie and I will be on the post-game show, as always, live on the New York Post Sports YouTube channel. We'll catch Kaz probably on Monday here to break down this entire game. And then the Jets will be playing the Dolphins on Monday night, and we'll talk about that as well. But as always, Jets fans, hit that like, hit that subscribe button on the New York Post Sports YouTube channel. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, go Jets.